Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sean. I'm back for another video, and welcome back to a review slash recap for HBO's show Insecure. This is the series finale. It's also season 5, episode 10, called Everything Gonna Be Okay. Now, depending on what side you're on, what team you're on, you are either cheering right now or in shambles. Okay, so we're gonna talk about all of that, my thoughts and opinions on the series and the season, a little bit later on in this recap and review. But if you like this kind of video from your girl, be sure to thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on those post notifications so that you'll never miss a video from your girl. Now, we have a lot to cover in this, I think it was a 40-minute episode. Every scene was meaningful, character development, plot development, all of that. So not a millisecond was wasted, and I can truly appreciate that. So without any further ado, let's jump to the review. So thankfully, this episode starts exactly where last episode left off, where it's Issa and Nathan, and they're arriving at her place after Tiffany and Derek's going away party, after the big fight between Nathan and Lawrence. And, they pull up to Issa's place, and she, tries to open the door, but she notices that Nathan isn't moving. So she notices that he, I guess, planned to drop her off. And so she's talking to him. She's like, Nathan, I know we have a lot to discuss. Like, just come inside. And, basically he's just like, no. When I first saw this scene, I was like, he's about to do what he always does, which is not talk about his feelings. He's going to bottle it up. He's going to walk away. He's not going to say what's on his mind. And that's a lot of people's complaint with Nathan's character. But surprisingly, he didn't do that. Nathan turns to Issa and he tells her, this ain't good for me. This messiness, like, this is actually really toxic for me. And he was like, I just can't do this. I'm good. And I think, I'm not going to blame any of this on Nathan's mental health issues. No matter if you had mental health issues or not, the situation that Issa put Nathan in was wrong. Nathan broke up with Issa based on what he knew and what he saw, but there was so much that he didn't know and he didn't see that Issa was doing behind his back. Like, still calling Lawrence, looking Lawrence up on social media, knowing that Lawrence was back in town and didn't tell her man, just act like she was surprised to see him there, knowing that he was back there. Issa was keeping a lot from Nathan. And I feel like he did what was best for him. I'm somebody who can look at the show objectively enough to know that just because Issa is the main character and because we like her doesn't mean that everything that she does is right. How she did Nathan, in my opinion, is wrong. So Issa goes back into her apartment alone, and when she does, she actually gets a text message from Lawrence, and it says, I'm really sorry about tonight. That's not how I wanted things to go. How did you want it to go, sir? How did you want it to go? How did you think it was going to go when you pulled her to the side and asked her if she was happy, told her that you loved her while her boyfriend was at that same party? Lawrence is another one who throws rocks and hides his hands. Like, you don't know. What did you think was going to happen? She had a whole boyfriend while you're telling her you love her at a party. So Issa is clearly upset. She's sad about all this. Before this party, before this night, she and Nathan were blissfully happy. At least that's what they were showing us. That's how she was appearing to be. They were about to move in together. Like, they really had a future, and everything blew up in one night. So Issa's really sitting with everything, and it's tearing her up inside. So she lays down on the couch and she doesn't wake up until the next morning when she hears a knock at the door. So it's actually Molly. Molly comes in with alcohol and some food for Issa. She looks at Issa up and down, sees that Issa looks like she slept in her clothes, didn't even wash her face or brush her teeth. She looks like last night, okay? So Molly comes in and she's like, ooh, girl, you weren't lying when you said you wanted to be alone. And so she asks Issa if she's okay, if she's hungry. And Issa's like, no, I don't want to eat anything. So Molly offers to put the food in the oven until Issa changes her mind and decides she wants to eat. So she excuses herself to go take a shower, and Molly yells back to her, it's going to be fine. You guys are going to work it out. You're going to laugh about this one day. But Issa knows that that's not true. She knows that the things that Nathan said are real and that their breakup was most likely final. So when she gets into the bathroom, it's Mirror Self, and Mirror Self just wants all the smoke. She is giving Issa a hard time. She was just like, man, where do we go from here? What do we do? We were so busy worried about all the choices and decisions that we had to make, and here we are. We ended up here. Sometimes no decision is a decision. Issa was so afraid that she was going to mess up with a decision that she made that she just sort of let life happen to her. And now here she is with a life that she didn't necessarily choose because she didn't choose. And that's a big lesson in the show. So there are a lot of time jumps throughout this particular episode. And the first one is we fast forward to Molly's birthday. So Issa is throwing Molly a party at her place, and she's making sure everybody is comfortable. You also have some of Torian's siblings there. Torian's there. Molly's mom is there. Curtis is there. So you have a mix of their family and friends, work friends, and so they're having a really good time. And while they're there, the doorbell rings and it's Tiffany. Tiffany arrives. She did come back from Denver like she said that she would. And Kelly lets her know that, she wants her to meet somebody special. This is the first time throughout the entire series that Kelly has had a serious boyfriend or really introduced us to somebody. They've already pretty much used Kelly's character as comic relief. They never really showed us her in any type of relationship dynamic. So this is, it's kind of late, the very last episode of the show, but I'm still happy to see it. And we'll talk about that a little bit more as the episode goes on. But, Tiffany's like, oh, look at my girls all booed up. Sorry, Issa. And Issa's like, no, it's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. But, Molly's been taking forever. Everybody's waiting on Molly. So Issa goes back there to see what the holdup is. And Molly's back there having a wardrobe change or 2 or 10. So Issa tells Molly that she can't wait for them to make their trip to Denver to see Tiffany because she feels like LA is just way too small and she can't wait to get up out of there. Molly whips her head around and she's like, girl, you still feeling like all the effects of everything? And she's like, yeah, but it's not about me. It's about you. It's about your birthday. It's going to be fine. She's like, what are you really nervous about? She's like, last time I met somebody's family, everything just went left. So she's just like afraid, a little bit nervous to meet Torian's family. And Issa's like, they're going to love you. They can't wait to love you. She's like, and if they don't, I'll just make them hate me. Issa opens the door to reveal Torian holding Molly's birthday cake, and you got all her family and friends there. Torian's family, Molly's family, her friends. It's just a nice intimate gathering of people who really want to celebrate Molly. It's a really beautiful scene. What I love the most about it is Torian's face. He really sold it. They really sold it as actor and actress because they really showed you, like, look at his face. Like, this man is into her, and you can see the love on his face. I think they really did a good job because they haven't had a whole lot of time with this love story, but you can tell they did great as actors for us to really believe it on only a couple of episodes. Like, I'm all in on these two. So they use a lot of time jumps, like I said, throughout this episode, but they don't tell you how much time has passed. All we know is we're at Crenshaw. So Koya is telling her that the pipe bust, and Issa's like, oh my gosh. So she goes back there and they open the door to find a huge celebration for Issa. Apparently it is Issa's birthday. So you have Molly there, Kelly there, Amal there, and it's just a whole bunch of people celebrating Issa. So Molly and Kelly are trying to find Issa somebody to hook up with because it's her birthday. And so they're looking around at the possible prospects. Issa's been single for a while. So Issa finds somebody that she's interested in going to talk to. So she's, Kelly and Molly are like, well, do you want us to go over there and warm him up for you? And she's like, no, I'm grown. I could do this myself. So she walks over there, starts talking to him for a while. While she's gone, Kelly actually gets a notification from her job and she's getting ready to leave and she's just upset about it. And Molly is like, girl, I told you, you need to talk to my job. I talked to the partners at my job and they want to talk to you about adding an estate planning area or division to our company. And so she's like, I keep telling you to give me a call. You need to go ahead and give me a call. And then Kelly finally reluctantly is like, okay, I'm going to give you a call on Monday and we'll see where it goes. So Issa comes over to talk to them. Apparently she spilled something on this man or Miss Confident is spilling something on this man. But while she does it, Kelly and Molly have this look on their faces. And then she's like, what is it? She looks over and girl, it's Nathan. So Issa gets up and goes over to talk to Nathan. They go and talk in the back. And, he's like, it's good to see you. He also lets her know that he got all of her messages and that, the last time they talked, he said a lot of things that were, possibly hurtful. And she was like, no, these are things that I needed to hear. I was just really angry and I was really hurt. And that's where all of these things that I said kind of came from. That's the place they were coming from. And Issa's like, I totally get it. I understand. There's no hard feelings. She was like, I hope that, even though we didn't work out, that we did do something good for each other, that we added something positive to our each other's lives. Nathan was the one who inspired Issa to start the block in the first place. And she also inspired him to, start the barbershop. Sometimes people come into your life for a reason or a season. Even if the only reason that they were together was to push each other towards their dream, that doesn't mean they were meant to be. I also think that it's really interesting and it's worth noting that there was a barrier, a column in the middle of them the entire scene. And that to me represents Lawrence. They could never be because there was always something in between them. And that something was Lawrence. I feel like it was represented really well. It's very subtle, but that's what Insecure is all about. That column standing in between them was to kind of demonstrate or to show that there was always something in between them, that never allowed them to be as close as they could be because Lawrence was always there. He was always there. May not have been physically there, but he was always in Issa's mind and always in her heart. So they had a nice little church hug, and then he went on his way. This is exactly as I predicted in the last recap that I did. I said that he was going to have to break up with Issa so that they could, make room for her to be with Lawrence. I said they would have to be a time jump because she couldn't immediately go from one breakup to instantly going with Lawrence. That would make her seem inconsistent. So now it's Tiffany's birthday. So we're in Denver and the girls are just arriving. They're taking a look at Tiffany's new home and it is fabulous. You can tell as soon as Tiffany is on screen that she doesn't seem happy. She's giving them the tour of her palatial place. She's not really ecstatic. This isn't the Tiffany that is bubbly and, bougie and all that. She's just kind of like, huh. Despite seemingly having everything that she ever wanted, she realizes that the things that she wants the most are actually people and not things. She misses her friends, she misses connection, she misses LA, but she's got the money and the career and the big house and all that kind of stuff, but it just seems like something's missing. This is the last episode of the entire series, and Tiffany's the only one who doesn't seem genuinely happy. She asks what she's been missing, and that's when Molly lets it slip that Issa has a new boo, and Issa's like, oh, nothing serious. I really don't have time for anything serious right now, but there is this guy that I've been seeing. So Tiffany asks to see a picture, and Tiffany's like, ooh, he's cute. But you can tell she feels like she's missing out on everything that's going on with their lives. She's always the one that feels like that because she had a baby first and she got married first. So she always feels like she wants to be closer to the group, but life has taken her in a totally different direction. So Derek arrives with Simone and he lets the girls know that none of his guy friends from LA have come to visit him. But he looks like the perfect, suburban dad. He's got his little cardigan on over his little button up. Y'all know Derek is my favorite male character on the show. So while Molly and Issa are grabbing a glass of wine in the kitchen, Issa notices a picture frame with a photo from their going away party. And it has all the guys, and of course, there's Lawrence. So Issa sort of takes a little bit of a pause, but Molly, as a best friend, she notices and she was like, girl, there's something that I always wanted to know. Like, what would you have told Lawrence if Nathan hadn't come in and interrupted? And Issa tells her, she doesn't know. She had no idea what she was going to say. And Molly's like, for real, girl, you really didn't know what you were going to say? And Issa's like, no. And she's like, it doesn't matter anyway because it's just too late. And that's when Molly tells her, if it's what you want, it's not too late. And this is a different kind of advice from Molly. At first, Molly and Kelly, I think it was episode 7 or 6, where they were telling her, girl, don't do this. It looks bad for you. You don't want to be a stepmom. But, over time, Molly has definitely softened up to the idea. And she sees that no matter how much time has passed, Issa still has a thing for Lawrence. So she ends up getting a call and she sees that it's her brother, Curtis. So she picks it up and she's like, hey, big head, like, what's going on with you? And then she's like, you could tell something serious is going on because her face and her tone and voice, everything just instantly changes. And she's like, what's going on with mom? And then she just breaks down and starts to cry. So that's when Issa comes over to her. Molly collapses in Issa's arms. Her mom has passed away. Now, because this whole episode is filled with flash forwards, there's no funeral for her mom or anything like that. This is just one scene. But I feel like we kind of knew this was going to happen. Even though Molly's mom did recover, I believe it had already been said before this season started that there was going to be a death. Now, she was the only one who was sick, and they've dedicated so many episodes to showing you Molly's mom in the hospital. I wasn't shocked. I don't know. Let me know if you guys were shocked, but I kind of saw it coming. So since this whole episode has a birthday theme, it's Lawrence's birthday, so it's his turn. So he's getting a birthday serenade from his mom, but while he's doing that on FaceTime, he sees Issa's name pop up on his caller ID. So he gets her off the phone and to find out what's going on with Issa. So Issa lets him know that, with everything that happened, she didn't want to let too much time pass, since they've talked. She says, I'm sure you probably have plans, but if you don't, I'd like to take you out for your birthday. And Lawrence looks disappointed, not by what she asked, but because he does actually have plans. And he's like, oh, well, I actually do have plans. So Issa hears the doorbell ring while she's on her end. And she's like, you know what, let me let you go. You're busy and all that. She gets off the phone. She doesn't even allow him to say anything else. And he was still kind of talking. It wasn't like in a rude way, but he could tell she was just embarrassed that she called. So he goes to check the door. And it's some random woman who we've never met before that's like, happy birthday, baby. Gives him a kiss, and he gives her a hug, and she's like, are you ready? And he's like, yes. He looks like he's moved on. At least that's how it looks. So because it's birthday themed, it's now Kelly's birthday. Kelly looks incredible in this green number with the feathers. Oh, so beautiful. But anyway, she's there with her man, and also Issa's there with some rando. She has to introduce him to the group because this isn't even the guy that she was with at Tiffany's birthday. So Kelly and her man have an announcement to make, so they get the group's attention, and they let it be known that they are expecting. So Issa goes over and she was like, girl, I thought you didn't want kids. And Kelly's like, I didn't want just anybody's kids. I wanted this man's kids. And she basically lets Issa know that sometimes life doesn't go according to plan, but that doesn't mean it can't still be a good life and you can't still be happy. That's a theme that they've been trying to drive home. That kind of, makes way for Issa to be with Lawrence. Issa's vision for her future included her being married to Lawrence and her being the mother of his child. But I feel like they're planting the seed throughout the entire season, and definitely throughout this episode, that things don't always go according to plan, but they can still work out. I also noticed that Molly wasn't at this party. I think they had good intentions when they were in the kitchen in last week's episode, talking about how they would always be there for each other's birthdays. But with babies and marriages and relationships and work, things don't always go according to plan with that either. So I don't think this is a divide between the group, but real life sometimes gets in the way of your best intentions. So Issa and her new man Nasir are at her place, and she has on her little lingerie, and she's in the bathroom kind of getting ready. And while she's doing that, she gets a call, and it's Lawrence. And Issa and her mirror self are back and forth about should she answer it. And her mirror self is like, no, because it's not going to work out. And Issa's like, how do you know that? No matter who she's with, she's always thinking about Lawrence. So this situation is no different. So she actually lets the call go to voicemail. She listens to the voices in her head telling her that it's not going to work out. She chooses her new date, Nasir, at least for the night. So it's Molly's birthday again. So that means it's at least been a year since all of this happened, because we were back at Molly's birthday. But anyway, Issa's wishing her happy birthday, letting her know that, she misses her. It looks like they haven't been spending that much time together. They've been busy with work. Issa's, got her own business going on. Molly's at the law firm, and she has a new relationship. This is the natural progression sometimes of friendships. And she lets her know that she misses her mom. And it's really dawning on her that there's going to be more and more birthdays for the rest of her life that her mom is not going to be a part of. But she does sound like she has plans. It looks like Torian is taking her away for a birthday trip. So while they're talking about all of this, Kelly comes in, because Kelly now works at Molly's job, which is another one of my predictions that came true. I did say that I said they'd start a business together. This is pretty close though. I said they'd be working together. So I'm happy to see Kelly thriving in her personal life and in her professional one. So Lawrence shows up at Issa's new office space, and he comes in. Issa gives him a very quick little bootleg tour, and they're talking, and she's basically like, I've really had a lot of time to think about everything. I realized that the only thing that was holding me back was me. I've always been in my own head, thus mirror self. And she's like, and I've always second guessed things about what could go wrong. Am I going to look stupid and all of this? But she's like, I just had to convince myself that it would work. It could work. And he's like, have you decided that? Like, have you figured that out? Do you think that it could work? And she's like, I'm interested in finding out. You notice the poll when they were talking? The same poll that was there, the same column that was there when she was having her conversation with Nathan, because there was always something in between them or someone in between them. When Issa and Lauren started talking, there was no poll. There is no longer anything in between them. They're not insecure about their relationship, their feelings, or their belief that they belong together. Then they have this passionate kiss, and they just start, I guess, going at it right there in Issa's office space. Now, one of my issues with the season is that it was getting so late in the season, and I'm like, how are we the very last episode, the season finale of the show, and they've never shown Issa secure. And I think, I realize now that it that's not a destination that anybody ever really gets to. Like, you can strive to be better, you could strive to handle your insecurities, you could strive to live with your insecurities, but you're always going to be insecure about something. It's about not letting your insecurities cripple you and keep you from making decisions and making choices. It's about not letting them rule or dictate your life. I actually can appreciate that now that I've seen it. It's not This was a destination that Issa was never going to reach. None of us really have. Even the most successful people still have doubts and fears. And we shouldn't expect Issa's character, or anybody else for that matter, to not still have those things. So as long as she's secure in her relationship, it's okay to have doubts and fears in other areas of your life. So this time they actually did give us a time frame for the flash forward. It's been a year and we are at Torian and Molly's wedding, and she looks stunning. Everybody looks so beautiful. She looks so happy. This scene, I smiled ear to ear the entire time. So happy for Molly. They look so much in love. They were just singing and dancing. There's a little area that they had dedicated for her mom, but she did her first dance with her dad and all that. It was still really, really beautiful. Lawrence is there. He comes over and gives Issa a drink, and he's like, "How you feeling?" And she's like, "There goes my girl." She realizes that now that Molly is married, the relationship is going to change. But again, that's what they've been experiencing a lot. It's happened first with Tiffany, and now it's happening with Molly. When Kelly's kid is there, it's going to happen again. This is real life. They all get up and they're all dancing together with the happy couple, and it's a really beautiful scene. Everybody looks stunning. The thing about it is, I'll be honest with you guys, I really, even watching the finale last night, um, I wasn't as excited about Issa and Lawrence getting back together. You all already know that. But seeing how well he fits in with her group and the people that are the most important to her, they have the most history. Lawrence does make the most sense for the show. I understand why they reunited her with Lawrence. There's no way we're going to invest 5 years into this couple and not have them work out and have her get with the dude who came in like season 3. Like, they've had him in every season for a reason. Okay. And so I definitely feel like Lawrence was the best choice for the season finale, series finale. So next up we have Issa and Molly. Issa is helping Molly get out of her dress. She's in this like lace up corset, so she needs somebody to help her get out of it in the back. So she and Issa are talking, and she's just basically letting Issa know that she's never been happier, that she's just so grateful to be where she is. She's also grateful for Issa, and she was like, thank you for loving me while I was me, and just thank you for always being there for me, and just really giving this heartfelt thank you. Molly has come such a long way. My award for most growth in a television series is Molly Carter. Molly has just I'm so proud of her character. So notice that these two are in front of a mirror for the second time this episode. And I think that's kind of symbolic of them reflecting on their past, reflecting on their friendship. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more in the next scene, but this whole episode was done so well because everything came full circle. And that's awesome to see that every seed that was planted, even seeds in season 1 and season 2, they've all sort of come to harvest in this series finale. Issa is at the block because this is some time later. The office is at the block. Definitely look more professional. Issa is in her red power suit. She's looking like a boss, showing her employees or whomever these are what she wants done. And you could tell she's definitely feeling more confident and, of course, secure in her position, finally doing what she loves to do and being profitable at it. But she leaves there, and on her way home, she drives past the dunes, which is where everything all started. Of course, Thug Yoda is still there with his daughter. Thug Yoda is the Bouch guy. And, she also drives by. She sees the Rite Aid that she was in also in season 1. She sees a guy walking in a Best Buy uniform, just like how Lawrence had to work at Best Buy. She even passes by We Got Y'all and sees Frida out there and the other girl from back in the day. It was so good to see their cameos pop up. And if you're a good, true fan of the season, you identified all of these things. That's what I was talking about with the seeds they planted throughout the entire series and season. Issa arrives home, and of course, there's a mirror there because we're all about reflecting this episode. So she goes in and she gives a kiss to Lawrence, and Ja is there. Apparently, this is another one of Issa's birthdays, and Ja made her a cake. It says, "Happy birthday, Issa." I guess. It's really cute and it's really sweet. And, Issa's interacting with Ja, and Lawrence is like, we have a little bit of time before the babysitter gets here. So, let's go ahead and get ready because he's taking Issa out to dinner for her birthday. This is a long way away because you got to remember in season one, Lawrence was on a bouch. And it was Issa's big day, which he really thinks her birthday is a big deal. And he didn't plan anything. He was so depressed that he didn't make any plans and he kind of blew her birthday off. Again, all about reflecting and showing you all the changes. Lawrence now realizes like he's in such a better place. They all are. While Issa's getting ready for her birthday dinner with Lawrence, she gets a call and it's Molly calling from her honeymoon. She's honeymooning with Tori in Greece. And she's like, I haven't really seen Greece because we've been at it. They are newlyweds. So this is another birthday that she isn't able to make of Issa's. Molly is now somebody's wife. Yeah, Kelly's having a baby. Tiffany and Derek are in another state, and they have a family. And now you have Issa now with Lawrence and also with Ja. Like, they've all gone in different directions. A real good friendship, at least in my opinion, isn't one that you have to necessarily call all the time or be there all the time because things get in the way. But when you do get together, it feels that no time has passed. And that's what they're like. That's true friendship. So she tells Issa that, like she said, she and Torian have been at it, and she actually thinks that he broke her, broke her vagine. That's how I'm going to say it nice and classy, which actually brings it back to the very first episode of this entire show when Issa was singing her song about how Molly's vagine was broken. And it's a funny moment that longtime diehard insecure fans will pick up on. But as that scene is ending, it lingers on this picture. This was the picture that they saw at the art walk. If you kind of go back and look at some of the other episodes, this picture, Lawrence has had this the whole time. The picture that he pointed out and picked out when he was with Issa, when they were right about to get back together, that shows that Issa has always been with him too. He has carried that picture from San Francisco to here. Issa's always been with him too. So that pretty much ends this episode, this season, and this series of HBO's show Insecure. Now I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and opinions, give a bit of a critique, a little bit of everything. So let's jump right into that really quickly as well. Now, what I will say, I'll start off with the sort of my critique, and then I'm going to end on a positive note. I feel like they gave us a lot in this episode, and I wish that they had paced that out a bit more. I don't think there would have been a need for so many flash forwards if they had actually taken more of these filler episodes that they used throughout this season to tell more of these stories. How did Torian propose? Like, how show us a little bit more of Kelly's relationship with her man. Like, Tiffany is pregnant. Molly got married. Like, there's so many things that happen in this single episode that I would have loved for them to have paced out a little bit better, especially with a 30-minute show. They could have given us a little bit more of these stories. They could have breadcrumbed it a little bit. I guess my main disappointment with this is that they had the stories. They had the stories to tell, but they wanted to tell them all in the finale when they could have used an entire season to tell them beautifully, taken their time. They could have really given us the Kelly content that we have been craving. They could have shown us more of Molly and Torian's relationship. They could have shown us more of Issa and Lawrence together with Ja and how they interact with Condola. They just gave it all to you at once, and I felt like I wish that they had done a better job with pacing, that they had paced the episodes out a bit more. 9 and 10 were the best episodes of this season, but we had to rock with the show for so long just to get there. But on a brighter, more positive note, I do feel like this series finale was done beautifully. Yes, it had a lot of time jumps in it and all of that, but we were able to get satisfaction from every single area. We were able to see Kelly happy and thriving, Molly and Issa. Everybody is happy and thriving, and that's what we all wanted at the end of the day. It's kind of like Sex in the City, but with more seasoning, so I appreciate that. So I really did enjoy it. Despite my critiques and my criticisms of the show, I do feel like it has been iconic. And I also feel like it's done so much for the culture. Seeing two dark-skinned Black women lead a show, but the whole show, like the entire cast, like I love the fact that it was the blackest black show that there was. And I feel like for that alone, the music, the wardrobe, like the entire thing was for the culture. And I appreciate that. I have loved watching the show. I will dearly miss it. It was one of my favorite things to tune into on Sundays. And like I said, Issa is amazing and incredible, and she deserves every bit of success that's coming her way. As somebody who watched Issa's web series here on YouTube, Awkward Black Girl, to see her go from that to HBO to movies to being an A-list actress and all that kind of stuff, I'm just incredibly proud of her and inspired by her as a content creator as on YouTube as well. So I hope that everything that she does turns to gold, and I hope to be watching more of her shows and movies in the future. So like I said, I wanted to end this on a positive note, and I'm just excited about the content that's coming our way thanks to Issa Rae. I didn't mean to rhyme there. But anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this season and series finale. Did you feel satisfied after watching it? Did you feel that her being with Lawrence, does it feel like settling or does it feel satisfying? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video if you watched it all the way to the end. And huge thank you to you if you did. And also, yeah, I love you guys, and I'll see you all in the next video. Till next time, later divas and dudes. Deuces, honey.